Your little coding project isn't a career, Marcus, Uncle Roy declared, stabbing his prime rib for emphasis. When are you going to stop playing entrepreneur and get a real job like your cousins? The notification lighting up my phone screen wasn't from a gaming app. It was Microsoft's chief development officer confirming Satya Nadella's personal interest in acquiring my company. The private dining room at the Capitol Club overlooked downtown Seattle, where my family had gathered for my mother's 60th birthday. Uncle Roy, senior partner at Whitman & Associates, had spent the last hour regaling everyone with tales of my cousin's successes. Blake's promotion at Amazon, Sophia's new position at Goldman Sachs, Tyler's surgical residency at Johns Hopkins. Then his attention turned to me, the family disappointment who'd dropped out of his law firm's internship program 5 years ago. I mean, what do you even do? He continued, gesturing with his steak knife. Make apps? My 12-year-old makes apps. Roy, my mother said weakly, but her tone carried more agreement than defense. She'd never quite forgiven me for abandoning the legal career she'd mapped out since I was in elementary school. No, Patricia, someone needs to say it. Uncle Roy warmed to his theme. Marcus is 28. His peers are buying houses, getting married, building actual careers. And he's what? Tinkering in his apartment? Calling it a startup? It's not tinkering, I said quietly. Oh, excuse me. What's your company called again? Cloudflow. Streamcore? Flowstate Technologies. Right. And what does Flowstate Technologies do that 1,000 other tech bros aren't already doing? I glanced at my phone again. 3 missed calls from my CFO, 2 from Microsoft's M&A team, and a text from my co-founder. Holy shit, they went to $500 million. Call me now. We build infrastructure tools for distributed computing, I said. See. Uncle Roy turned to the table. Meaningless tech jargon. Infrastructure tools. He made air quotes. That could mean anything. It means nothing. It means you're hiding behind complexity because you can't admit you're failing. He took a long sip of his bourbon. How much revenue did your company generate last year? We're pre-revenue, I admitted. The table erupted in knowing looks and subtle head shakes. Aunt Linda actually sked. Pre-revenue, Uncle Roy repeated triumphantly. 5 years and you're pre-revenue. Do you know what we call that in the real world? Unemployed. Startups operate on different. Startups, he scoffed. That's what you call it when you can't admit you're playing pretend. Your cousin Blake? He manages a team of 40 at Amazon. Sophia just closed a $100 million deal. Real accomplishments. Not whatever you're doing in your pajamas. I don't work in pajamas. Might as well. When's the last time you put on a suit? Had a performance review? Got a promotion? Earned a bonus? My phone buzzed again. This time a direct message on LinkedIn from Satya Nadella himself. Marcus, we need to talk. The board is eager to move forward. Please call at your earliest convenience. Are you seriously checking your phone right now? Mom's disappointment cut deeper than Uncle Roy's mockery. We're at my birthday dinner. Sorry. It's important. What could possibly be important? Cousin Blake leaned back in his chair. Hot date. New high score on Candy Crush. It's business. What business? Uncle Roy laughed. You just admitted you have no revenue. What pressing business matters could a company with no income possibly have? I set my phone face down, though it immediately buzzed again. You know what your problem is? Uncle Roy continued, clearly enjoying his audience. You think you're special. Think the rules don't apply to you. But success requires discipline, hierarchy, putting in your time. Not this Silicon Valley fantasy where every dropout thinks they're the next Zuckerberg. I didn't drop out. I graduated summa cum laude. And then threw it away. That internship at my firm was golden. Do you know how many people would kill for that opportunity? The opportunity to spend 80 hours a week proofreading contracts. The opportunity to learn from the best. To build a real career. Instead, you chase this startup delusion. It's not a delusion. No. Then explain it. In plain English. What does Flowstate Technologies do that matters? I looked around the table. My family, successful in their traditional paths, waiting for an answer they'd understand. How could I explain distributed computing architecture to people who thought the cloud was just weather? We solve a problem, I said finally. What problem? When companies scale their computing needs across multiple data centers, they face synchronization issues. Our platform. See, there you go again, Uncle Roy interrupted. Hiding behind jargon. This is exactly what I mean. You can't even explain what you do because you don't really do anything. Roy, that's enough. my father said quietly. He'd been silent until now, the conflict of defending his son warring with his own disappointment. Is it though, James? How long do we enable this? How long do we pretend Marcus is building something instead of admitting he's wasting his potential? I'm not wasting. 5 years. Uncle Roy cut me off. 5 years since you left my firm. What do you have to show for it? An apartment you rent? A company with no revenue? While your cousins are building wealth, buying property, establishing themselves. Success isn't just about. Yes, it is. Success is exactly about results. Measurable, tangible results. Not dreams, not potential, not pre-revenue fantasies. Results. My phone lit up again. This time, a notification from TechCrunch. Breaking. Microsoft in talks to acquire FlowState Technologies for reported $500 million. The table had gone quiet, waiting for my response to Uncle Roy's lecture. Mom looked embarrassed. Dad studied his wine glass. My cousins ranged from smug Blake to sympathetic Sophia. You're right, I said quietly. Uncle Roy blinked, surprised. I'm what? You're right. Success should be measurable, tangible, results-oriented. Well, yes, exactly. I'm glad you're finally. So let's measure, I continued. Blake, you manage 40 people at Amazon? 43, he corrected proudly. I manage 12. Smaller teams, sure. But we've built something Amazon couldn't. Something Microsoft wants to buy. Microsoft. Aunt Linda laughed. Marcus, these delusions. My phone rang. The caller ID showed clearly on the screen. Satya Nadella, CEO, Microsoft. I should take this, I said. Don't you dare, Mom warned. We're at dinner. It's the CEO of Microsoft. Right, Uncle Roy smirked. And I'm Jeff Bezos. I answered anyway on speaker. Hi, Satya. Marcus. The accented voice filled the private dining room. I apologize for calling during dinner hours, but the board is anxious for an answer. Have you considered our offer? The table had frozen. Uncle Roy's fork hung midway to his mouth. I'm actually at dinner with my family right now, I said. Could I call you back in an hour? Of course, of course. Family first. But Marcus, please understand, Microsoft is prepared to move quickly. 500 million is our number. We believe FlowState is the future of distributed computing. I appreciate that. We'll talk soon. Looking forward to it. And Marcus? Congratulations. What you've built is remarkable. I hung up. The silence was absolute. That was, Blake started. Satya Nadella, I confirmed. He's been trying to buy FlowState for 3 months. We've been in due diligence, negotiating terms. 500 million? Mom whispered. Dollars. Cash and stock deal. They want our synchronization protocol for their Azure infrastructure. But you said, Uncle Roy's voice cracked. You said you were pre-revenue. We are. We've been focused on R&D, perfecting the technology. Microsoft doesn't care about our revenue. They care about our solution to a problem they've been trying to solve for years. How is that possible? Sophia asked. No revenue but worth $500 million? Because revenue is just one metric. We have 17 patents. Our code reduces latency by 90%. We solve a problem that costs cloud providers millions annually. That's worth more than current revenue. You're selling to Microsoft, Dad said slowly. My son is selling his company to Microsoft. If I accept the offer. If, Uncle Roy found his voice. If, they're offering you $500 million. They're offering to buy 5 years of work. To absorb our technology into their ecosystem. To turn our innovation into their product line. So maybe I'm not ready to sell. Maybe we're just getting started. Maybe the real value isn't in the exit, but in what we could build independently. That's insane, Blake said. Take the money. Buy a house. Hell, buy 10 houses. Like you did. I asked. Trading time for salary? Building someone else's dream. I have stability. You have a job. I have a company. There's a difference. My phone buzzed again. TechCrunch had updated their story. Sources confirm Microsoft's $500 million offer for FlowState Technologies. Founder Marcus Chen seen as rising star in distributed computing. Marcus Chen, Uncle Roy read from his own phone, suddenly glued to Google. Founded FlowState Technologies. MIT graduate. Youngest recipient of the Turing Innovation Grant. How did we not know this? Because you never asked, I said simply. 5 years of family dinners, and not once did anyone ask what I was actually building. You just assumed I was failing because I didn't follow your playbook. We asked, Mom protested. You asked when I was getting a real job. You asked why I wasn't dating Sophia's friend from Goldman. You asked when I'd give up playing entrepreneur. You never asked what problem we solved or why it mattered. If we'd known, what? You'd have been supportive? Encouraging? Or would you have found other reasons to disapprove? Too risky, too ambitious, too unlikely. The waiter appeared with dessert menus, sensed the tension, and retreated. So what happens now? Aunt Linda asked quietly. Now I finish dinner with my family. Then I call Satya back. Then I decide whether to take generational wealth or keep building. You have to take it, Uncle Roy said. This is life-changing money. Is it though? I looked at him directly. You have money. Blake has money. Everyone at this table does fine. But are you life-changed? Or are you just comfortable? There's nothing wrong with comfortable. There's nothing wrong with ambition either. With building something that matters. With solving problems that impact millions of users. But the risk? What risk? I'm 28. If I fail, I start again. If I succeed, I change an industry. Either way, I'm doing more than billing hours or managing someone else's team. That's naive, Uncle Roy insisted, though with less force than before. That's entrepreneurship. The thing you called a hobby. A delusion. Playing pretend. I pulled up the TechCrunch article on my phone, showing the headline. Looks pretty real to me. The table fell quiet again. My family, successful in their traditional ways, grappling with a success they didn't understand. Marcus, Mom said finally. I'm sorry. We should have listened. No, I said. You should have believed. There's a difference between listening and actually hearing. Between asking questions and actually caring about answers. That's fair, Dad admitted. We saw what we expected to see. Our own definitions of success. And missed what I was actually building. So help us understand now, Sophia said. What is distributed computing? Why does it matter? For the first time all evening, I smiled. Imagine you're trying to coordinate 1,000 musicians in different cities to play the same symphony at the exact same time. I explained flow state in terms they could grasp. The problem, the solution, the market need. As I talked, I watched understanding dawn on faces that had dismissed me minutes before. That's actually brilliant, Blake admitted grudgingly. It's necessary, I corrected. Brilliance is just solving necessary problems others overlook. And Microsoft. My phone rang again. The CFO this time. Take it, Uncle Roy said. We'll wait. I stepped onto the balcony for privacy. Through the glass, I could see my family huddled around Uncle Roy's phone, presumably reading every article they could find about flow state. Marcus, my CFO said without preamble. They raised it to $550 million. They really want this. Of course they do. We solved a problem they couldn't. So, what do I tell them? I looked back at my family, then out at the Seattle skyline where our small office held 12 brilliant engineers who'd believed in this vision. Tell them we'll consider it. But first, we want to discuss a partnership structure. Maybe we don't sell. Maybe we license the technology and stay independent. That's ballsy. That's negotiation. They need us more than we need them. Your uncle's going to have a heart attack when he hears you're playing hardball with Microsoft. My uncle just learned that his hobby nephew might be worth $500 million. His heart will survive. I returned to a transformed dinner table. Phones out, everyone reading about flow state, about distributed computing, about the problem we'd solved. $550 million now, I announced. Still thinking about it. Still thinking. Uncle Roy's voice pitched high. Marcus, that's insane. No, I said, taking my seat. Insane was calling it a hobby. Insane was assuming failure because I didn't wear a suit. Insane was measuring my worth by your metrics instead of impact. I apologize, he said stiffly. I was uninformed. You were dismissive. There's a difference. How can we make it right? Mom asked. You can't. You can do better going forward, but you can't undo 5 years of condescension with one apology. That seems harsh. That seems honest. Something this family struggles with when success doesn't match expectations. My phone buzzed one more time. Another text from Satya. Marcus, the board authorized up to $600 million. This technology is crucial for our future. Let's make this happen. $600 million, I announced to the table. Final offer, apparently. Take it, Uncle Roy said immediately. Dear God, take it. Why? Why? It's $600 million. And flow state is worth more. Not today, maybe. But eventually. The question is whether I want Microsoft's money now or market dominance later. You're gambling with generational wealth. I'm building generational impact. Wealth is just a byproduct. That's easy to say when you're not married, don't have kids. That's easy to say when you've built something that matters. When major corporations bid against themselves for your work. When your hobby threatens their infrastructure. The waiter finally returned, cautiously offering dessert menus. Actually, I said, bring champagne. The good stuff. Are we celebrating? Mom asked hopefully. We're acknowledging. 5 years ago, I left Uncle Roy's firm to build something. Tonight, that something is worth $600 million. Whether I sell or not, that's worth acknowledging. To Marcus, Dad raised his water glass, waiting for the champagne. For proving us wrong in the best possible way. To Flow State, I corrected. And the team who built it while everyone thought we were playing. The champagne arrived. We toasted. The moment felt surreal. My traditionally successful family toasting my non-traditional path. So, Blake asked finally, are you taking the money? I'll decide tonight. After I talk to my team. They helped build this. They deserve input. Your team you manage, Uncle Roy noted. All 12 of them. All 12 will become millionaires if we sell. Not bad for a hobby, right? He had the grace to look embarrassed. I'll never live that down, will I? Probably not. But you'll have a nephew who sold a company to Microsoft. That should help at partner meetings. You know what bothers me most? Sophia said quietly. We could have been cheering for you. 4 or 5 years, we could have been your champions instead of your critics. But you weren't. And that's okay. I didn't need cheerleaders. I needed to build something worth cheering for. Still, we're family. Family shows up. Family asks real questions. Family believes before the world validates. You did none of that. So where does that leave us? Mom asked. It leaves you with a son worth potentially $600 million who you thought was wasting his life. It leaves me with a family who'll probably pay attention now. We work with what we have. The dinner ended differently than it began. Hugs instead of handshakes. Genuine interest instead of condescension. Uncle Roy actually asked technical questions about our architecture. As I walked to my car, a sensible Honda that had horrified Blake, my phone rang one more time. Satya, I answered. Thanks for your patience. Marcus, have you decided? I thought about Uncle Roy's dismissal. Mom's disappointment. 5 years of family dinners where success was measured in traditional metrics. Then I thought about what we'd built, what we could still build. Let's talk partnership, I said. Microsoft gets exclusive licensing rights. Flow State stays independent. We both win. That's not what the board wants. The board wants our technology. This gets them that while letting us continue innovating. Take it back to them. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm playing the long game. The same one I've been playing while my family thought I was playing pretend. I'll present it. But Marcus? This takes courage. Or stupidity. My uncle would say stupidity. Your uncle doesn't understand technology. I do. This is courage. After we hung up, I sat in my sensible Honda, looking back at the Capitol Club where my traditionally successful family was probably still discussing their newly valuable disappointment. Tomorrow, the tech world would dissect the Microsoft offer. The business press would analyze the negotiation. My family would Google every article, finally understanding what they'd missed. But tonight I drove home to my team, who'd believed when no one else did. Who'd built something worth $600 million while wearing hoodies and working from a converted loft. Uncle Roy had demanded to know when I'd get serious. Turns out, I'd been serious all along. He just couldn't see it through his traditional lens. Now, with $600 million on the table, that lens had shattered. And for the first time in 5 years, my family saw me clearly. The nephew who'd built tomorrow while they measured yesterday. The hobbyist whose hobby caught Microsoft's attention. The disappointment worth more than all their successes combined.